happiness in life is to love and be loved. This quote from George Sand is something that really captures the concept of love, because people want to show how much they love and appreciate each other, and this led to the creation of one of the most famous holidays. So today I'm going to be telling you guys about the history and traditions of Valentine's Day, and I'll start off with its murky origins. One of the more historical outlooks on how Valentine's Day was created is through a pagan festival called Lupercalia. This festival was a fertility festival made to honor Roman gods. So the festival started off, they'd sacrifice a goat, they'd skin the goat, and take his pelt and dip it in blood. While they have this pelt, all the women would line up down the roads and wait their turn to be slapped with the pelt. When they got slapped with the pelt, it was supposed to increase their fertility, and so everyone was in line ready to get babies. And at the end of the day, all the women would write their names down on a little slip of paper and place it in an urn. And then all the eligible bachelors would come in and select a name, and those two would be paired up for the year. And this often led in marriages and everything else that comes with being paired up for a year. And it's believed that Pope Gelasius, this is the man that made February 14th Valentine's Day, it's believed that he just Christianized the pagan holiday to make it fit their beliefs more, so it's not so barbaric. So while it was barbaric, the pagan holiday, Pope Gelasius saw the love that was coming through it, and he wanted to make it his own. That was one belief on how Valentine's Day was created. Another belief comes from, this is a more romantic view, it comes from Christians named Valentine. There's a few saints named Valentine that made a big impact became martyrs because they died for the cause of love. One Christian named Valentine was in the 3rd century. He would perform marriages that were outlawed. These marriages were outlawed because single men were believed to perform better than married men or men with families. So because of this, marriages were all outlawed, but this Christian named Valentine decided to continue to perform the ceremony so he can let love thrive. Because of this, he was executed and died for the cause of love. Another Christian named Valentine was one that helped other Christians escape from harsh Roman prisons, but this eventually landed him in one himself. Here in this prison, he met the love of his life, who was his jailer's daughter, and he wrote her love letters every day, and he was said to have written the very first Valentine, and the legend says that he even signed it "From Your Valentine." This inspired a lot of people to make their own Valentines and leads us to how we celebrate it today. But because of both of these Christian men, because they died for the cause of love, it is believed that Valentine's Day was created to honor them. So when we celebrate Valentine's Day, we do it in a number of different ways. One way that we celebrate is through love letters. Some people like to pour their hearts out, similar to how our Christian man who wrote his letter to this jailer's daughter, he poured his heart out to her, and that's what some people like to do today to show their appreciation. Instead of pouring your heart out, this leads us to one of the very first Valentine that we have in possession. And this is a picture of it. This one was written by Charles, Duke of Orleans. And it said, in the poem, he signs it a few times saying, "My very gentle Valentine." And this is a big deal because it's our first Valentine we have on hand, and he signed it "From Your Valentine," and that's how many people sign it too. And we also make cards. We buy cards and we make cards. And this is a big deal because instead of the pressure of writing your own letter, you could just buy a generic Valentine's Day card or make a Valentine's Day card. So in the 16th century is when Valentine's cards started to become produced. By then they were still handmade and hand colored. And by the 1800s they began to be factory produced, but they were still hand colored. By the 20th century, that's when it was completely manufactured. There was ribbons and bows and everything that made it look beautiful, and that people were buying them by bulk. But instead of buying $5 or spending $5 on a Hallmark card, you could always make your own, like I did with my kids in my class. We made a Valentine's card, and easily just write your own Valentine's message and put your own touch on it. So it's not as intimate as a letter, but it's still sweet and from the heart. And that's how we celebrate Valentine's Day. Thank you guys for listening to my speech, and I hope that I've given you some inspiration for this upcoming Valentine's Day. As Audrey Hepburn once said, the best thing to hold on to in life is each other.